Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button so you're not missing any of these vlogs about my mental health journey, any of my song reactions pertaining to mental health, or any of my celebrity interviews about their mental health journeys. When I broke down during my Metallica Fade to Black reaction, many thought it was due to the lyrics triggering the suicidal ideation of my past. Others thought I was faking emotions for views. To those in the second camp, I get it. I get that my hurt might have seemed out of place to you, or that I didn't cry in the same way you did or in the same place in the song as you would. To the others, don't get me wrong, the song did strike a chord with the remnants of the darkness behind me, but there was something much deeper, something I've been living with for months, and something that I've really been struggling to process and come to terms with. The lyrics that cut so deep were, "Missing one inside of me, deathly lost, this can't be real. I cannot stand this hell I feel. Emptiness is filling me." A year ago today, I had a miscarriage. I am very physically missing one inside of me and experiencing a very tangible emptiness. I still am feeling that because grief and healing don't happen on some cosmic timeline. Before you worry too much, yes, I've spoken to a professional to help process some of the trauma. I've been taking care of myself. I haven't done anything destructive or dangerous, but I have to admit, the amount of things that trigger me often feels overwhelming. I now hate taking my son to the park because I hate seeing the little girls. I'll walk the entire perimeter of a store if I have to in order to avoid the baby or maternity sections. I drive miles out of my way if my route tries to take me past the hospital I was at. And I will straight out sob if I open my Instagram at the wrong time and see one more pregnancy or birth announcement. Let me step back a bit, actually. This pregnancy wasn't planned. In fact, it was about as unconventional as possible. And it threatened to upturn everything that I knew. My son was 9. I have no desire to start over. And I know that this isn't the case for everyone, but when I saw those two lines, a slew of revelations that I'd been in denial about hit me like a battering ram. First of all, the realization that I will never feel complete without a daughter, even though I didn't know the gender. It was a dream. Second, that I was in a situation that wasn't serving my mental health. Third, that I hadn't been honest with myself about my feelings, about the closest people in my life. And fourth, despite the abundance in my life and all the things that I'm so immensely grateful for, I was willing to give it all away to follow my heart and my deepest desire. I was proud of myself. I was full of hope. And I felt like the woman at the end of the movie that walked away from her old life and threw her cell phone out the window and held her head high as she took on the role of being the empowered boss babe on her terms. I was unstoppable. Or so I thought. I was at the gym, running on the treadmill, as I'd regularly done for quite some time, when I felt like someone stabbed me in the abdomen. I stumbled off the machine and fell to my knees in this fit of agony and terrified screams, and I wrapped my arms protectively around my abdomen, confused and in shock. Long story short, I wound up at the hospital and had to have emergency surgery. This pregnancy was ectopic. There was nothing they could do. The next few months were some of the most traumatic of my life. I could hear the heartbeat if there was too long of a silence. I woke up in a dissociated hysteria on 2 occasions, running around my house, desperately searching for a daughter that wasn't there. To top it off, both times I instinctively reached for my phone to call my mom, yet I didn't understand why she wasn't in my contacts. I didn't have the knowledge that she passed away in 2007. Anniversaries of loss are something I can never forget. They haunt me. And partnered with my divorce, I've had the wind knocked out of me. I wasn't doing mental health vlogs when this incident happened, and once I started doing them, I had no idea how I could possibly talk about this. I kept trying to convince myself that it wasn't relevant to the channel, that all I would get was judgment, that I'd be isolating a large sector of my viewers and upsetting the rest, or that I would upset the people I love the most, because Lord knows I already do that enough. Now I realize that not sharing in some ways made me a hypocrite, because I encourage everyone to be open and free here because this community is about support, yet I was scared to share this. But to be honest, I need to talk about it, not only because I know someone out there needs to hear it, but because I need my baby to be real to someone other than me. In some weird way, I feel like I have to hold on to the pain, because if I let go, it means I'll move on. And if I move on, it means that my baby would be forgotten. So here I am, with a knot in my throat, an emptiness I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, and a shattered heart, sharing my story for anyone out there who needs to not feel alone in their loss, and to keep the memory of my baby alive in your hearts, as well as my own. That being said, I'd like to take you through some of the dominating emotions and thoughts and feelings that I've had as I've been battling through this process. I have some very deep-seated self-esteem issues surrounding pregnancy, which probably merits an entire vlog all on its own because it's so heavy. But I'll just say that I have this debilitating mindset that a baby I could have would never be anything special for anyone but me. Like I said, another video, but it's worth noting here in the summary of some of the feelings and thoughts and stuff. Sadness would seem like the obvious starting point, I guess, but sadness just seems like a word. I can get sad during a movie. I can get sad if my best friend doesn't call me back as quickly as I think she should. I can get sad when my son says something nasty out of anger. I can speak 2 languages and I cannot find a way to describe the intensity of the all-encompassing despair that permeated every single atom of my being when I woke up after that surgery and felt the shift in energy that told me immediately that I was no longer pregnant. At some point before the surgery, they were doing all the tests, and I heard the heartbeat, I saw the ultrasound, and I cannot think of anything more traumatic than having those imprinted on your heart, having it made real, and immediately having it taken away without your consent. Anger was quick to follow. I screamed. I mean, blood-curdling, I'm surprised they didn't sedate me. Scream. I hated every single person in the hospital. I hated the universe for taking the baby and not me. I hated my partner for who knows what. I hated every other pregnant woman in history. And I hated myself for not being able to protect my baby. That overlapped the bargaining a little because all I could do was close my eyes and keep thinking, you took the wrong person. You made the wrong choice. Please, I'll do anything. Anything, I'll just fix this. Those, of course, stayed in the forefront the days, weeks, and months that followed, just cycling through and They were joined by others. Guilt is prevalent. Societal guilt, because I knew people would judge me if they knew the circumstances. Guilt that my body had failed. Guilt that I hurt people I cared about. And I couldn't shake it no matter how much I tried to reason with myself. The jealousy, the jealousy. The jealousy is suffocating. The pregnancy and birth announcements, seeing little things like a dad braiding his daughter's hair, or a pair of little girls' sparkly shoes. My body physically aches from the unadulterated animosity I feel sometimes toward the world at large. We all know how unhealthy spending too much time on social media can be because of the comparison trap when we see others on vacation or taking cute selfies with a partner when we're single. That "it's not happening to me" sentiment is unyielding, nagging me every second of every day. And on top of it, the fear is crippling. Of course, I'm scared to go out, scared to open my phone, but I'm also paralyzed at the thought of it happening again. Should I intentionally try to get pregnant? Or it not meaning anything to anyone else and me feeling unworthy and unloved and isolated? Or that my baby's gonna be forgotten if I don't hold on to the pain? Or that I'm going to have a baby and not be good enough and I'm unsure which pain is worse, the shock of what happened, the ache of what will never be, or the fear of failing no matter what? For all the progress I've made with my mental health, it felt like this loss undid all of it. Had someone prepared a line of Coke in front of me, I'd have done it. Had someone laid a razor in front of me, I would have used it. And it's hard to admit that, but I'm glad nobody was around to offer those things. I'm glad that with a bit of professional insight into the trauma aspects, a best friend that gets it, a series of grief rituals, and a lot of self-reflection and limiting beliefs about myself, nearly a year later, I'm beginning to take the first tiny steps toward healing. I know I've said it over and over again that I'm happy these days, managing my mental health much better, and finding gratitude and joy in every day, and that's not a lie. It's what keeps me safe and striving. Because I had the intuition to see my own destructive patterns and the wisdom to start shifting my perspective, even in some tiny way. I have the curiosity to keep exploring myself, even the painful parts. I want to share with you guys some of my favorite insights that I found in my journal since my loss. My parents didn't have a grandchild from me. My dad, in fact, didn't have a grandchild at all. Maybe they wanted a part of me with them as much as I want a part of them with me. I'm not being mocked by what I can't have. I'm being shown what could be possible. Thank you, universe, for showing me parts of my heart that I closed off and for giving me clarity about what it is I truly desire. Only is a silly adverb to attach to her age. She was real from the second I knew, and so were my dreams. Sometimes staying positive just looks like leaning into grief, bonding with my support system, and being open to finding or making meaning in the absolute worst of circumstances. My world seems to have flipped time and time again in the past year. The very core aspects that most people rely on for security or hope were ripped away from me. Again and again and again. But you know what? Miscarriage is a very important aspect of the mental health conversation that gets massively ignored or downplayed. I'm a recovered self-harming cocaine addict, yet I felt more shame about this pregnancy loss than any of that, and I shouldn't. I love the baby, and I was the best version of myself during the time that I knew I was pregnant. I always encourage people to share their mental health stories in the comments. Please do that here in this video too, but today, if this is a loss you've experienced, I also want you to feel free to share the memory or dreams of your baby with us, because he or she, even if, like me, you didn't know gender was very much real and very much matters. Please also take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this video. You never know who might need to see it. And I want to thank you guys so much for holding space for me while I navigate these extremely trying and emotional life events. I know that there's a lot going on, and I know that my last few vlogs have been kind of heavy, but that's mental health. Sometimes we do have that again. Sometimes we do struggle again. Sometimes we do experience things in life that just take some time to get through, or that is very overwhelming. And sometimes the best we can do is survive and not do anything to make it worse. But again, thank you guys for holding space for me here. I know it's probably not easy to watch this process, but like I said, I needed to share these things with you, these things that I've been going through. And I sat here all day for hours and hours just crying and trying to think of what to say and how to say it. And I'm glad that I got this out. And I love you guys so, so, so much.